Heifers has been a staple here in the Lowcountry for over 40 years. President and founder Carol Linville sits down with me to talk about what's next for her organization for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook.
Carol Linville, welcome back to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here on this beautiful day.
Yeah, it's not too hot today. Not too hot. Like yesterday, I was sweating and could barely move. I was walking like a turtle down here.
92 degrees.
Yeah. I had to take like that too. And I was over here at the Four Corners of the Lawn. I'm like so thirsty and couldn't get.
Oh my God.
I'm like, let me get back to the house.
We need some rain.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We need some rain. Absolutely.
I'm sure that'll come too.
I hope so.
Yeah. Obviously, you are a legend here in town.
Well, I don't feel like a legend, but I certainly have a mission that I didn't know I was going to have 42 years ago. So it's I call it God's will to be with. So, for his creatures.
Right, and obviously it's pet helpers. And you started that 42 years ago.
I didn't know I was starting at 42 years ago, Quintin. You know, it started with reading about how many animals were killed in Charleston back in 1976. I was only 31 years old. I just moved here from Florida following the love of my life, Bob. We were in business, and I read how many animals, again, were dying in the Post and Courier. And I thought, well, what can I do? I started a pet column, 10 minutes a week. I could find 10 minutes a week, and got someone to take a picture, and then you develop the pictures back then, and then Charlie Diggle with the James Allen Journal started a little column, and, you know, cat or dog, and Carol Linville. Well, within 2 years, we were getting calls into our home and business from people saying, are you that lady that helps animals? I'm James Allen. And I thought, well, I help some cats, and that's how it started. It was that little seed. And then I became aware of the situation and the challenges and the lack of anything pro-animal, animal welfare, animal cruelty, animal anything. Spay and neuter wasn't even in the vocabulary back then. So I think we had 3 cats at that point in our personal life, and it just began, I began challenging the status quo. When you talk about how can one person make a difference, I wasn't working to do that, but it was such a obvious someone has to do something, and so I just did. And media, I mean, like yourself, you were the voice, and I just common sense knew that getting to media would deliver the messages, because without them I couldn't do anything. And that's how it all started.
What should be the message when it comes to the status quo today?
100% better. Obviously, the entire community over these 42 years have come together. You know, to fix a problem, you have to stop the production, to educate, get your community involved, get your elected officials involved, and that was a huge component of legislation and local animal welfare protection. Both shelters at the time, Pet Helpers was born. It started out in our house and home, and then our business, and then a house and a garage, and over these 42 years, morphed and grew into where we are today, and what I call the rich shelter, with the spay neuter clinic. But also, the SPCA, John Atham, became the Animal Society, and they have become very progressive and taken the lead as far as a large facility. Pet Helpers, we are hands-on, call it heart and family. I can be reached 24/7, and still, to this day, sometimes it's not so good, but I can't not answer a phone.
Right.
But we both have a place and a part to play in the community for making a difference. So today we're no-kill in this community, and that doesn't mean you don't lose a few animals to health or to critical injury or to critical behavior issues. But we spend a lot of money investing in each animal that comes into our fold and our life, doing everything we can to save them and find a forever home, and commitment. Educating the public as well that when you adopt, it's a lifetime adoption. Not everybody follows that. You see it even with children. You know, commitment is sometimes challenged. But we've had some challenging times and years. But I am mission to stay the course. My life is morphed into wildlife. I'm on call 24/7 to the city of Folly Beach, all non-paid and volunteer, so I have no life. But I've learned how to rescue seagulls and seabirds and sea ducks and loons and pelicans, raccoons and squirrels. I'm sure just recently I had a call out the other night on a little rat that was walking in circles. The police department called. I'm like, at 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, excuse me?
I'm in my bed now.
Well, I wasn't in bed, but I was thinking about laying down. You know, and it was a new visitor to Folly Beach, and they rented a house, and this little rodent was. So the police were busy. Saturday night, I took the call. I said, I'll go. I was so tired. And I find this little rat walking in circles. And I knew it had been poisoned. And Quintin, I picked that little baby up, took him home, put him in a little bed. I knew he was going to die. Did all I needed to do, which was not very much because it was neurological, and he did. And I thought, you know, people will think I'm crazy. It's a little rat. But you know, that little rat looked at me with those little baby eyes, and I thought, you know, your dad's baby, and it brings tears a little bit, because I know we all have, we all have that bait and poison out. Anyway, he didn't make it, but he left with somebody holding it and saying, hey, I care. And that's about compassion and empathy. So, that's what drives me every day.
Every day.
No matter what it is.
No matter what it is. And you obviously talk about the emotions and the animals that you've dealt with over the years. Besides that rat, which other animal has really tugged at your heart?
Oh my God, the baby raccoons. The baby raccoons. Aside from our domestics, of course. But I've got 3 baby raccoons at home right now that are 8 weeks old. They were orphaned. Mother raccoons are killed. Our wildlife today are so challenged with the overdevelopment of our communities. They have nowhere to go. I live in a barrier island. James Island's a barrier island. Sure. I mean, actually, half of Charleston. You know, so these animals need shelter for their young. Raccoons are very, very protective of their babies. They're as strong a protector as a mama bear with her cubs. And it's heartbreaking to see how many are killed or chased out of their habitats. People move into like a barrier island like Pharmaceutical. And I just have a call yesterday that there's raccoons in the yard and they want them removed. I haven't handled it yet. I will for the city if I can. But it's, you moved into a natural wildlife area. You learn to live with your wildlife. You secure your property. You put out barriers that keep you from coming in.
True.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
If you don't want to live, for wildlife, don't move where they live. Go into a great city somewhere where you see nothing but buildings and cars. And I'm old enough now I can say that.
You'll be just fine. You're in comfort with Quintin's close-ups.
Doctor told me last year, he said, Carol, the older you get, the more unfiltered you become. You say more what you think, and that's the advantage to getting older. I said, I'll take that. So, for that I said my husband must have been old when he was born because he was...
Oh, like that?
Bob Wendell said, oh yeah, my husband was... don't ask if you don't want to know.
No.
So,
I know the last time I wanted to talk to you for Quintin's close-ups, unfortunately, Bob passed away.
Yes.
Where are you now, emotionally?
It's still hard. I still cry. It's been 2.5 years. I'm still there with him. We're at 45 years together, and we walked the path together. He in support of my work, me in support of his work in the city and other areas. I miss him desperately, and I guess I'm thankful that my work, God, the community, the pet helper community, the Folly community, the general Charleston community really came together to help me through these first 2.5 years. So if it weren't for all the work that I have and the animals at home, I wouldn't be in the place that I am today. So I'm doing okay. I miss him desperately every day. I talk to him. I brought him home. I am cremated, so he has to listen to me every day. So, but you know, everything's still there. I have his truck, and I've learned to do more things that he took care of than I ever thought.
Now, do you take care of that truck?
I absolutely do. I had to put brakes on it, new tires on it, new battery. Battery died in my car. I had to pull it over and jumpstart his truck with my car. I've learned how to use the tire compressor and how to start the generator. Never thought I'd be doing all that. But, you know, he taught me a lot along the years, too, and we have some rental property, which is how I live. Obviously, my life's work didn't include paycheck, but that's okay. But God's been good, and He's blessed us with everything we work for. And I firmly believe the more you give, the more it comes back. And I have to tell you, Quintin, that's a fact.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know, I'm blessed. I'm blessed with the support I have, and even people like yourself.
Oh, I appreciate it. I love doing Pet of the Week every week. You know, that's fun.
Oh, my, with Will?
Yes, that's fun. I've met a lot of dogs and cats virtually.
Have you any at home? Yet?
No, well, my landlord who just passed away, his family still doesn't allow the pets over there.
Listen, I get it. Sometimes I shouldn't allow the two-legged animals and should have the four-legged animals, given some of my experiences. But overall, it's about responsible pet care. And I'm that way with a couple of animals I have. I have one that I can't allow animals because there's no yard, they're right on the street, and people look at me and say, well, you're a pet helper. Yes, but I'm also responsible.
Right.
And I need you to be responsible, i.e. the person.
Exactly.
So it's the right time.
Yes.
The right place for me ready for that.
Oh yeah, one of these days. And that brings me to my next question, Carol. What are some good examples of responsible pet care these days?
Well, I think it starts with understanding the financial obligation. People don't realize that having a cat or dog or fish or turtle or whatever requires veterinary care. Veterinary care today is expensive. That leads me into pet helpers with our spay-neuter clinic, low cost. We have a vaccine clinic every Tuesday from 9:30 to 2:30 for the public to come in for the rabies vaccines or heartworm checks, spay and neuter if needed, low cost.
Yes.
We've got a very special program right now that's even more low cost than normal with a grant from Humane Net, our local little nonprofit group. But that comes with pet ownership. You have to know what it takes to keep your pet healthy and safe and generally inside. I mean, you know, cats in particular.
Oh, yes.
People think, oh, it's a cat, it loves to be outside. But you know, we have so many hit by cars.
Oh, yes.
And emergency vet care is in the thousands. And your animals are subject to anything when they go out the door. So your dogs and cats, you're microchipped.
Oh, yeah.
So you can be found as an owner.
Right.
You do their animal vaccines. But most importantly as well, you spay and neuter them. And you do their monthly heartworm protection.
Oh, yes.
And most people, a lot of people don't realize that heartworms come from the mosquito bite. Mosquitoes inject the microfilaria into the veins, and those worms go to the heart and lungs, and they get as long as cooked spaghetti. It takes a long time, but those worms slowly damage the heart and lungs. Ultimately, a painful death for a dog, and cats are prone to that today.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's medication that you give once a month for life, with a pill, $3, $4, $5 a month.
Right.
So part of responsible pet ownership is understanding that component. And what do you do if you're going out of town? Who's going to take care of your animal?
Right.
And dogs live 15 years today. Cats live 20 years today. So It's like having kids.
Yes.
Now, one thing about dogs and cats, you do it right, they don't come out and bring you more back. Move in with the grandkids. But they do send the grand dogs back to you.
Right.
I get that all the time, the grand cats.
Yes.
So, but that's part of it, and just knowing that these animals are very emotional and bonded and all loving,
Right.
and the best friends you can have, and you just have to realize that.
This is a silly question, and I should probably have known this. I should have learned this like in elementary school. Why do dogs live? Well, why do cats live longer than dogs? And there's only like a 5-year difference.
Well, there is and there's not, because
Okay.
you take a small pool.
Okay.
Some of your smaller dogs
Yes.
live longer lives, and you can have my sister's little toy poodle lived 22 years.
Wow.
But she took excellent care, got its vaccines annually, good diet, and just a stress-free, protected life, which we would all like to
Yes.
have.
Yes.
The gene pool can play into that. Cats don't all live 20 and 22 years. A lot of them don't live 10 years. Today we're dealing with a lot of cancer. And it's, in my mind, it's your environment, your food, your water.
Right.
We just, all of us, don't know every day what we're subjected to in our natural environment anymore. So it's the same thing with animals. But I think animals are living longer because they're seeing doctors more often. But it's expensive.
Expensive. Yeah.
I mean, veterinary care is expensive.
Yes.
But I also have to say in defense of that the cost of product and medicine is very expensive, and equipment. Actually, I think in some cases more than human.
Yes.
So that's all part of it, and making sure you can budget. Well, we, at least through the pet helpers, offer an affordable basic care.
Sure.
Even though you still need a veterinarian for something more significant.
So then, from the 1970s to right now, what has been the average cost for medicine, food, equipment?
Oh my gosh. Thousands. I mean, if you're talking veterinarians today are $150,000 a year as far as to hire. Our vet is over $100,000. People don't realize in a shelter world, but they still have the education and they need the experience, so it's very costly. But your pharmaceuticals, just like with human medicine, that's a challenging area, and today, nothing to say you're going to spend $200 to $300 to go in for your annual physical for your animal.
Right.
And then a friend called me yesterday, her doctor, her vet said, your cat needs a dental. $1,200. She said, $1,200? I can get a dental for $300.
Right.
So those are the areas that I don't even have an answer for why it's so expensive. It's a time thing, but still, oh my gosh. I don't even know. She's, needless to say, said, going to pass on that right now. She did one the year before for $500.
Right.
So, but it's just basic good care. Purebred animals do have greater issues, greater health issues,
Right.
and weaker immune systems. So I would say that to anybody watching, your healthiest animals are your mixes. Your shelter animals are your best animals to adopt because they have stronger gene pools. They have all the basics done before you adopt today, at least in our community. Your purebreds have weaker gene pools, greater health issues, greater immune system issues. So I say to anyone that wants a purebred animal, just make sure you have a really good savings account to support it. And that's about 80%. Now, I could be off, so someone could challenge me on the percentage, but it could be 90%.
Yeah.
Depends
Depends
on the dog.
on the dog. Now, that gene pool that you continue to talk about, what was that like when you first started pet helpers?
Oh my gosh. I don't even I don't even remember because we weren't focused on what we are today. I remember when I started Pet Helpers getting a distemper shot, which is a distemper vaccine, and a rabies shot is a big deal for your animal.
Right.
We, animals probably live 9-10 years. Heartworms killed a lot of your dogs. Cats weren't spayed and neutered anywhere near like they are today, so you had a lot of inbreeding.
Right.
Thousands of feral cats, stray community cats.
Yeah.
I spent 20 years on Follow Beach trapping cats.
Wow.
Got all the feral cats under control on Follow Beach over that period of time through spay and neuter, messaging, but also had my Follow Beach City Council behind me, and they supported that with local legislation.
Sure.
No stray cat can run unfixed. Fix your boys, you fix your girls, they can't run at large, which gave me the tools. If you had cats running in your yard, I'd say, Quintin, we have to help you get those cats fixed because they have babies every 4 months. Cats go into heat when they're about 6-7 months old. They have a litter.
Right.
Their litters at 5 months, females can go into heat. So while mom is going into her next heat, her baby's having babies. And then you have tens of thousands. So today, we're a whole lot better with that. And then you strengthen your immune system because you've got healthier animals.
Healthier animals.
So that's part of how it's changed from 40 years ago to where we are today.
If you could get the tools today to really straighten out the pharmaceutical issue with obviously the higher prices for medicine and whatnot for pets, where would you go legislatively?
I don't know that you can because, you think about it, your pharmaceuticals are private industry.
Sure.
It's just like the human medicine.
Yes.
I got some friends that just had some medicine that they had to go on that without certain discounts through all this insane insurance that we're all looking at today for us, we humans. It's like $1,400 a month for this one medication for heart, irregular heartbeat.
Right. Oh yeah.
And I thought, how can that one little tiny pill for 30 days cost $1,400 or $1,700 a month? So that's the egregious thing in the whole pharmaceutical industry. But they would argue, how much did it take us to create this expensive little pill? Well, I don't know. You buy stock in the pharmaceuticals. So if you own stock in Pfizer, like right now with COVID vaccine, here we go. That just came up on the news the other day. Now we're talking boosters in 6 months. Well, is this a necessary booster? Or is this now a pharmaceutical because they made so much money coming up with a COVID vaccine, which is great because I've had mine. But now you're starting to think, well, you start telling people you got to have more vaccines. It gets back to money and pharmaceuticals. And that's the same thing with the animal pharmaceuticals. It just depends on what you're talking about. And medicine changes every day.
Sure.
So the veterinarians today, you've got cardiologists and you've got oncologists and you've got joint doctors. I mean, you've got in the veterinary field every doctor that you have in the human field, and you're paying for it.
Yes.
So those can. So emergency, and back to animals running at large, walk into an emergency bed after hours. You're looking at, you're going to put $1,000 down before you even blink. And you can spend $3,000. A friend of mine passed her, Polly, his cat was attacked by a dog. And it was a cat's fault. We crossed the street. Shouldn't have been out. Shouldn't have crossed the street. But he at $3,000 in about 32 hours. He didn't have the funds, but they loved their cat. I got involved. I started doing helping them with some medical. That I remember saying to him, look, we can't keep him in the emergency bed because it's $1,000 a day to go 4 more days. It was New Year's weekend, which was bad. You're the closest person to God in this relationship, so you do the prayer thing because you're the pastor. I'll do the medical help because I've got it. And And the cat made it.
Thank God.
Cat made it. Well, I don't like to lose my patience. So I'm determined.
Determined. What else are you, buddy? What else are you determined to do when it comes to pet helpers in the next 5 to 10 years?
You know, I'm just determined to continue to be the best at what we do. I don't want to be bigger. I want to maintain the programs we've got. I just want to be the best at everything from Unchained Charleston, where we get chained dogs off chains and build fences, to a real strong spay-neuter program that we help anyone that needs help. Levi Legacy, where you donate to that fund and you call me as an individual and you need some extra medical for your animal, and we have a grant to my gosh, all the different our retail thrift store to help support what we do, and just maintain the programs that we do. Our food bank.
Oh yeah.
We gave out over 20,000 pounds of food during COVID. Wow. We never shut down. We stayed open 7 days a week. We even kept our spay clinic going when everybody else stopped. We did shut down for 3 weeks, but then we opened back up. So we were there, we were essential, and most people want to be bigger. I just want to be the best and be financially strong.
Sure.
People support us, our website, and just keep doing what we do and do a job.
Now, I wanted to ask you this: how many pets have actually entered your animals shelter, that is, since last year?
We probably average 1,800 to 2,000 a year. It's not so much the numbers, because we commit to each one that comes in. Now, if you include foster, I could probably throw another 500 animals in there, maybe 1,000, because foster program is critically important. Our space, while it's good, we don't jam it up. But we've had as many as 200 or 300 animals in foster care. So foster volunteers are really important to us. For the babies, for the new adult dogs, for the stray intakes that we do take in.
Yeah, that was my next question. How many cats are acquired as strays and dogs as well?
That was my primary mission for pet helpers. It should be, oh my gosh, if you count what we pull now from other shelters, we are helping other high-kill shelters by taking some of their animals. So I would say to you that probably 75% of our animals come in either from the street or from other shelters that we will take 4 or 5 or 6 that won't get out if we don't. And then the balance would be owner surrender. And that's probably the ballpark of what we do.
Now, where was the increase in the percentage of animals actually adopted?
Well, you know, a lot of people, this year, of course, especially, we had a lot more adoptions. People were home. So the challenge was, everybody said, oh, we're home, well, let's get a dog or a cat, which is great. All the shelters just adopted like crazy. Question now, and time will tell, when you all go back to work, when you adopted, lifetime. So don't be saying 2 years down the road or a year down the road, this puppy that was so cute when you got the puppy is now, a year old eating your table and your carpet and your shoes because it's training. Good citizen, child, a well-behaved child comes from a good parent that teaches them. Same thing with your pets. So I have quite a few at home, personally. Which includes a raccoon. I have Rambo, an adult that I bottle raise. It's now a year old, which I shouldn't promote, but he has a physical, neurological issue. So he lives with our little cats. We have quite a few house cats, 2 dogs, and 3 baby raccoons right now sitting on the kitchen table. And carriers, being bottle fed.
Okay, I thought they were going to be eating bananas and stuff.
No. They get their little bottle every morning and every afternoon. They're just 8 weeks old, so they will eventually go to wildlife sanctuary for future release when they're old enough to go out.
What are any alternatives to really stopping, these animals from really being killed?
Education and compassion and empathy. Compassion and empathy is a component that we need across the board for all of us. and the world we live in.
Sure.
Our neighborhoods, our people, and our animals across the board, and that's the bottom line. You learn to live within your society. We're here. God gave us all this.
Yes.
And that's what our responsibility is, to be their loving caretakers and kind and humane. And that little raccoon and that little squirrel and that little bird, that little mouse, they all deserve a shot.
Sure.
I mean, I know nature's going to play into the natural order of things, but the shorebirds that I've been involved in so much, wow, a lot of seagulls that are coming in with broken wings, and the loons that I now know migrate from north to south, and south to north.
Right.
They're running into boats, or they're diving into water and running into the swells of it. So you've got keeper of the wild that helps with the fur bearing. That's in Wilkesboro.
Right. Oh yeah.
They're all volunteer, of which I am one. And then birds of prey.
Oh yes.
And they've helped us out a lot with a lot of the seabirds coming off of Bali. Which reminds me, I need to meet the Isle of Palms, because they're having the same challenge we are with who's going to help these creatures.
Sure.
Problem I haven't followed is I'm it. There's no one else to call. Our public safety officers are really busy.
Right.
And then we get all these calls in for these animals that are found on the beach alive, need help.
Right.
Thus far, I've been it the last many years.
Sure.
So I'm going to be talking with the city. I need to create a little team effort here. Feeling the push. We've had a lot this year. A lot of
animals issues.
Yes. Yeah. So I just do all I can do.
Which animal describes Carol Linville?
I don't think I have an answer for that. When you say that, that's really, I determine, you might say a cat, only because cats are determined. They're going to do it their way.
Yes.
They don't take no for an answer. They pick you. We pick our dogs, cats pick us.
Right.
So it could be some strong cat in me, because I'm a tenacious, determined, persistent person, and I'm focused on doing something for the right reason. You work hard enough for the right reason, it will come to pass. So that's what's probably led me all these years. Despite all the challenging adversity along the way.
And I forgot to ask you this too, but what are those challenges when it comes to development and animals? You know, as you mentioned, developments around here, everywhere in the region.
I don't know that we're going to get past those, because I'm a property rights person. I believe in that. I'm certainly a good moderate conservative person when it comes to taking care of myself. I don't want anyone to take care of me. I want to work. I'm a worker. I've always been a worker. Came from good working parents, as we all have. I know you have. And but with a massive amount of development money, and I'm not against money. We all need it. But I think we're in such an overdevelopment point now that I don't know that there's an answer, because it's not going to stop. And I'm sad about that. So we just need more people, I guess, to try to be there for these little creatures and help all we can.
Someone just walked
Like
past.
that little whipper there that just went by.
You come to this park every day, there's a lot of animals.
Oh, that's a great little park now that I know where it's at.
Yes, ma'am.
Been here for 42 years and they can tell me where it's at. I'm like, there I go. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
But it's sad. I mean, I think we've got some really challenging times, and I'm not so sure God's smiling every day over all this, but I'm spiritual.
Yes.
Not overly religious, but spiritual.
Spiritual.
Yeah, really.
And what do you want people to say about you 10, 20 years from now,
Oh my God.
when you're still here?
Thank you for that one. She doesn't quit. She's a worker. She's persistent. She just was there to make a difference in the world and leave it a little better place than when I came upon this earth. And I want to know I made my mark and my legacy and those around me. And I think that's what my walk in this life was supposed to be about. So I'm grateful for the work ethic and the tenacity and the strength that I must have, I guess, because I can't not help.
Yes.
I've got family at times that says, Carol, let it go, enjoy the rest of your time. You're right. I said, I can't not be there if something needs help. No matter how tired I am, no matter what, if I can make a difference, I'm going to, because I'm a caretaker. I like to fix problems and help people.
Yes, you do. Yes.
That's what I do.
That's what you do.
That's what I do.
And we appreciate all your work here in this community.
Oh, thank you, Quintin. I appreciate your time just for this long, and I'm certainly not short on words.
No. It's all good. I have plenty of time for you.
Well, thank you. And pethelpers.org.
Right.
Come see us. Come,
Yes.
check us out on the website where we need their support.
Sure.
We've got a great black tie four-ball gala coming up November 7th
Right.
at the Marriott.
Oh, yes.
Got to get with you on that.
Sure.
Get you there.
Right.
We're back open. We're moving on, and you need to be watching for this huge 5-star black tie event on November 7th at the Marriott downtown.
And I'll bring you back on Quintin's Close House for that.
Yes, you will.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right, my dear.
Yeah, well, the Dr. Carol Linville, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Close House.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
Very delighted.
Oh, likewise.
Thank you.
You're welcome.